This is an outstanding and awesome lens, Zeiss Planar Macro 50mm f2, and I'm going to sell this lens. Why? Let's find out. What's good, guys? My name is Oleg Nikitin and you're watching No Limits On, the channel about the privilege of being a freelancer, tips and pieces of advice about motivation, personal growth, some tech aspects and many more. Welcome to the channel. So this is Zeiss 50mm Macro Planar lens, and it's extremely sharp and truly awesome. But I'm going to sell this lens, but we'll talk about it a little bit later on. So right now I'm going to show you some sample footage of this lens with full frame camera Sony A7S Mark II and with the crop camera Sony FS7, which is shooting me right now.
In my heart there's a giant doll. I know you like, just have me in the back and try and twist a knife. But baby, I'm gonna get up. I realize that you're comprised of so much jealousy and hate to sympathize. But baby, I'm gonna get up. You tried to run me to the ground, you tried so hard to bring me down. But baby, I keep running. Thought I would break, baby, you wish. You don't know who you're messing with. You forgotten one little thing, that I'm a machine. When you underestimated all the damage that I could do. See, all this power was created just to show you that I'm bulletproof. I know you like, just have me in the back and try and twist a knife. But baby, I'm gonna get up. I realize that you're comprised of so much jealousy and hate to sympathize. But baby, I'm gonna get up. You tried to run me to the ground, you tried so hard to bring me down. But baby, I keep running. Thought I would break, baby, you wish. You don't know who you're messing with. You forgotten one little thing, that I'm a machine.
So guys, how did you like the footage? I guess it produces just outstanding picture quality, extreme sharpness in macro and also in normal usage, because 50mm is known as a, overall normal or a little bit of portrait lens. And I've been using this lens for 3 years now, and I just enjoy using it because the sharpness, the detail that it produces is pretty ready to, take a 45 megapixel camera, take a picture and then blow it up actually, and print a huge picture. So this lens is truly amazing and awesome. It weighs around 720 grams, which is pretty heavy, and it comes for Nikon cameras and for Canon EF cameras. So I'm using this lens on my Sony cameras with the Sigma MC11 adapter, and it also adds a little bit of weight. So the total package is around 800 grams, but still it's just enjoyable. Also, it comes with a lens hood, which almost doubles the length of this lens. The lens hood is also made of metal, and it shows kind of, a seamless transition, but I was buying this secondhand, so the previous owner just kind of bent and maybe dropped this lens, I'm not sure, but it's working pretty fine. And the lens hood is a little bit bent, so I'm not really using it, and I enjoy the flares that this lens produces. The minimum focus and distance of this macro lens is 24 centimeters, and it produces 1:2 or 2:1 macro ratio. So it's not 1:1, it's a little bit wider, but still it gets you the perfect macro shots. This is the classic Carl Zeiss optic scheme, which contains 8 elements in 6 groups. Also, as you might have noticed, the optics itself are kind of dampened inside of the lens, so you don't really need a lens hood to protect it. It has kind of 3 centimeters before the actual glass, so this part of the lens is kind of protecting itself. Also, this lens features the 67mm thread for filters, and it's a pretty commonly used filter thread size. For instance, 24-70 f4 for Sony uses the 67mm. Also, my Zeiss Batis 85mm uses the same one, and my new Tamron 70-28 f2.8 lens also uses the same one, so I can just truly use one single filter for almost all of my lenses. The maximum aperture of this lens is f2, which is pretty nice for a 50mm lens. It produces truly shallow depth of field and extremely nice and creamy bokeh, as you saw in the sample footage. The aperture can be close to f22, which is very useful for macro shots because the depth of field in macro is just razor thin, guys. So the main question is, why am I selling this beautiful lens which costs an enormous amount of money? And actually I bought it second-hand for about $1,000, but to buy it new you'll need to spend around almost closer to $2,000. Maybe you'll find a better deal, but still it's a pretty expensive piece of kit. So why am I selling this? Because I'm switching to Sony a7S III. And it features incredible and outstanding autofocus capabilities. And this lens is a manual lens with, by the way, a very long focus throw and very smooth one. For precise focusing, it's very good. But still, I want the full potential of my new camera. That is why I'm switching to a lighter, smaller, but still very sharp lens from Sony. It's also from Zeiss, Sony Zeiss 55mm f1.8. This lens is also a very sharp, very nice, and it's very small. So for me, the size, the weight, and the autofocus is a game changer. And for macro shots, I'm gonna be using either my Tamron 17-28, which also can be focused kind of very closely, or I'll be using some, macro lenses for the rent. I'll rent some macro lenses and use for some special purposes. So overall, I truly recommend this lens, and if you can afford it, please guys, just try it out, because it produces almost the best picture quality that I've ever seen in a lens. So we're moving on to the quote of the episode. Henry Ford once said, "Quality is doing it right when no one is looking." And the question of the episode: did you use Zeiss Milvus f2 50mm macro lens? What do you think of it? Okay guys, that's been it. My review of Zeiss Milvus Planar 50mm f2 macro. See you in the next video, guys, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notifications bell to see more of those videos from me. It will be highly appreciated. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.